All right, now we're recording. All right, so we're building up our little kind of space needle, and I'm going to put in one more shape here for the top. I'm just going to pull this all the way out, and then I'm going to use my select tools to kind of pull in specific points. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is let me get back another color also. So don't sweat the colors. I'm just doing the colors so we can visually see it. And I want to add some points because I want to kind of create this same thing here. I'm just going to add another path point here. And then I'm going to put two more that I'm going to drag up. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to kind of drag these up to meet some of those points. And we got a point over here and a point over here. So again, what I'm just doing is kind of, again, doing some quick visual representations of it. I'm not trying to be 100% architecturally correct, because when I pull this thing out, it's going to look fine. It's going to be perfectly fine, and then I can colorize it and um, make it all happen. So I'm just kind of pulling this together, and you'll see in a minute I'm going to kind of group all this stuff up too, which is going to make it easier. So that at this point, the colors really do not matter. And then we've got the needle itself up here. I'm just going to center that up. Oops. And I'm going to pull that point in. We get more of that kind of look. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of select some of these shapes that I know I want to go together. And I'm going to use my Pathfinder. And I'm going to join them, unite them together. So now it all becomes one. Okay, and then I'm going to do this one down here and select that. I want those to join up. Okay, so now this is all one little point. Okay, so like I said, color-wise doesn't matter. I can kind of flip that out. And then we're going to do the other, we'll do that as a ellipse down here because we really want to get that ellipse happening. Again, as you see, I'm just kind of putting it in quick. I can come back later and modify, but I'm just kind of getting the things into place. And again, I'm going with a visual representation. I'm not trying to be 100% accurate with this. Okay, that can come later if you want to. And my vision for this is kind of a little bit more abstracted imagery of the Space Needle. I'm just kind of drawing that point in. And I'm going to make that the green. So I'm just going to eyedrop that green. So that one's the same. So at this point, the green is the windows and the blue is the building. And I'm going to select that. I'm going to put those together. So now that's all one. So if I click and change the color, it's going to change it for all of the Space Needle. Okay. And then likewise, I can start to build all of this in. Okay. You know, and it might just be some rectangles and they're not too wide. I'm just going to kind of do some thin rectangles and I'm going to kind of turn them to angle. Oops. Put those in place. And the cool thing about Illustrator is I can kind of, once I get this kind of going, you can start to duplicate things and you can start to duplicate one to the other. So once I get this one side drawn, I'm going to duplicate it and put it on the other side. So there's a part there, and then there's another triangle that's coming up. I'm just using the same tools and just kind of, in this case, rotating them in place. And it's over here roughly. And I'm going to just take all three of those. I'm actually going to kind of group them. And then I'm going to duplicate. I'm holding the option, just kind of dragging over. And then I can kind of transform. So I can flip. Reflect right there. So we got the horizontal, in this case, a vertical reflection. And I can put that in place. Again, we're just kind of building it piece by piece. So it's kind of like looking at this and trying to break it down into little bits and pieces. Oh, no worries for being like, wow, let me put you down and mark you down. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, so we're building this tower out. And again, just kind of put things roughly in place. I can come back in and tweak it. The picture underneath, again, is kind of being my reference for what I want to do. And then there's a single tower piece here. Just scale that down a little bit. So I'm just kind of working this all up. And that goes all the way down to the bottom. And I'm going to move that backwards. So I want to put that behind some of these items. So just command and the colon. You can also go up here to object, arrange, and move to back or send backwards. Okay, so right there is your keyboard shortcut. Okay, and then I'm going to keep building up the red, the tower. I'm going to real quick, just so we can speed this along, put in a base. And I'm going to put this up here. Now this is totally not right, but for the sake of speed, we're going to do that. And I'm going to want to put that, and I want to put these items here together, and then these pieces here together. I'm going to just kind of unite them, and I'm going to give them a separate color. Okay, so you can kind of see we've built up the space needle. Not perfect by any means, but you know, for what we're doing really quick in class, I think that works. Now, because this has been locked, I can now drag over this whole thing and select all of those paths together. And I'm going to group it so it just becomes one unit that I can start to move around, right? I can start to scale and move however I like in my cityscape. Now, when we look at the skyline, we're not really too concerned. There are some buildings I think that might be a little bit iconic for those that live in Seattle. But, you know, for all of us who don't, and again, this is a travel poster to get people to visit Seattle, I think we could kind of just kind of go with kind of an up and down kind of cityscape. And I'm going to go back to this one here because it's a little bit more of a silhouette kind of feel. And what I'm going to do is just kind of draw buildings in. And I'm just going to block those in. Let me get another color to start with. Go with the green. And I'm just going to duplicate. I'm going to put these in. There's a little one here. And I'm going to duplicate another one here. And that's a little lower. And there's another one over here. And again, you can play with the widths and so forth to give yourself some variety. And I'm going to fill it all back in with a second layer at the bottom. So I'm not super worried. I'm just trying to get the ups and downs that we see in cityscapes, right? That kind of unity with variety that's common place in a city. A bit wider over here. Just smaller down here. I'm just kind of putting this in. Again, we can be more specific and more probably visually accurate. But for this point, just for the demo, I'm not as concerned. I'm going to like just pull that all the way across. And I'm going to do another one here. Just kind of, again, I'm building this in. I'm not trying to be 100% accurate. I'm just kind of trying to space it all in. Now, I'm going to do one more to kind of fill in the bottom. And because this is all locked still, I can take it all and I'm going to group it, Command G, and I can give it a color, of course. And then I can play with it and move it. So what I'm doing is, again, I'm just kind of building this up. I'm going to pull this to the front. So object arrange moves the front. And I want that to be a pretty dominant thing in this. So again, I'm going to play with the perspective. And I'll figure out, let me see, let me put it at the base right now. We're going to pull that up. Now what I'm doing is, again, I'm thinking about that kind of rule of thirds. So if I come back here and turn on my thirds, you can see my skyline is basically below the third. And then I'm looking at my Space Needle, and you can see I'm right along that other third line, and I'm coming up almost to that second third height in here. Okay, so again, just to kind of make things more visually interesting. Had I not done that, had I put this thing in the dead center middle, it's probably not going to be as visually interesting. So as you kind of work, you tend to do this. And even if we look at these photographs, look at them here. Look at that. It's over here on the other third. Okay, and likewise on this one, it's over here, the Space Needle, and even the Mount Rainier is not dead center, right? I mean, this would be dead center. It's off, pushing into the top third of the picture, and then it's over to the right. Okay, again, to make things a little bit more visually compelling. Okay, so just think about that, and it's a way we're kind of used to seeing things to help make things kind of nice. And I want to put a sky in, so I'm just going to do a quick gradient in the background. And again, just playing with that gradient, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to send that to the back. Okay, and you can see here within a matter of, a few minutes here of working, we're really starting to kind of get this drawing going. Okay. Again, there's a little color. There's obviously color issues here, but I think you can start to see where we're doing this. And then what things I'm thinking about as I'm working here is like, I'm up here. I'm thinking about visit Seattle, somewhere going up here from a type standpoint. Maybe our logo can go down here somewhere, or things you're going to find oftentimes on a poster is like a phone number and or a web address. Those are going to be important just so they can contact, right? You got to have that point of contact so people can do that call to action. What do you want them to do? I want them to go to the website so they can learn more about trips to Seattle that my travel agency might be doing. Okay, and I'm actually, for a quick standpoint, move this out of the way. Come on. I'm just going to drop the opacity down on that. So that'll make it look like it's a little bit lighter. Okay. All right. So think about that rule of thirds. And when I turn those on, you can kind of see where they're coming, right? You can kind of see where things are lining up or not lining up. And of course, you can come back in here with a lot more detail of, maybe some lights, different colors within the building. This is where you can start to play with your color ranges of, light, medium, and dark. Okay. So you could do a monochromatic color here, in this case, purple. So there's a light, medium, and dark purple. And again, what you're doing is kind of creating some visual depth out of something flat. Okay. So we're not trying to draw it in full perspective, but we're trying to kind of create a little bit of visual depth potentially. Now, the other thing is they have the Mount Rainier. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to play with that again. I'm just going to lock off those pictures again. Makes it easier. So as I start to click around, I'm not going to be moving other elements that I don't want to play with. And then we have the Mount Rainier. And I'm just going to go basically with the mountain itself. And then we'll put that behind our city line. So in this case, I'm going to use the pen tool. And somewhere down over here, the mountain starts. And I'm just kind of drawing along. And I'm just clicking as I go. Remember, if you click and drag, you get the Bezier curves, okay, which will allow you to bend and turn. If you just click and move, you get a straight line, okay? And I'm not worried about the color at this point, obviously. Not that big a deal. We're going to change that in a second. So now we have it all as one point, and we'll give it like a dark green color for there. And I'm going to put that behind here. So I'm going to scale this up. Again, because it's vector, we can do this with no problem. And then I'm going to send that to the back. But then what I'm going to do is pull it forward, right? So I don't want it to be all the way in the back. I want to just kind of bring it forward, which then puts it behind the skyline and behind the tower, the needle, but in front of the backdrop. That green's a little dark. Let's make it a little happier poster here. Okay. So now we've got this happy little poster of Seattle. You know, things I look at, it's a little bit too unified maybe here with the skyline. I'll kind of probably play with that a little bit more. Maybe you can see some of the buildings have little like points or an angle. That would help with the visual interest here of doing that. You know, so even just kind of taking a corner off of a building, you know, those kind of things will add some visual panache to the kind of thing. So just like that little point makes a big difference and kind of gives it a little bit of visual interest. So I probably would go back and spend some time on that. But we have the here, and then we can come back in and start to play with our type. And again, we can do it all here. We can add a new layer. It's really up to you and how you feel like you want to work. You know, and you remember you can label these. So if you double click on the layer name, you can. And I'm just going to put type. So I know that's there. And here of rule of third. And here I'm going to put city skyline. It's kind of so I know as this thing starts to develop and gets more complicated, I can quickly come back and figure out what layers I want to work with. And, you know, again, being able to lock things. So I'm locking off all of this skyline and stuff. So when I start to work with a type, I'm not accidentally selecting something and running into problems with that. Okay, so I'm going to come in here with the type tool and I'll actually get on the proper layer and just do visit. And I'm going to pull this out separately. So I'm going to do visit and I'm going to do Seattle separately so I can have some control over that. Okay, so we're at the default typeface here. Let me see if I can just something close top here that works. Now remember with when you're dealing with type, you know, the scripts and so forth can work in this case because we're at a poster and we're pretty large, right? I mean, we're 11 by 17, so we're pretty large in scale. Sometimes when we get to smaller type, like let's say we're laying out a newspaper, we wouldn't want to go with any kind of script in the body copy because it's just going to make it hard to read. But you can pull that off here in a larger type that we're doing. So, but I'm just kind of looking through, see if there's anything that kind of fits and feels good. You know, and again, I think it's a good idea to kind of go through your typefaces. And remember, we can get more typefaces through Adobe. Let me get this window pulled out. So you can go through here and activate fonts through Adobe. Okay, so don't just rely on what you have going on in your computer at this point. Feel free to add in new typefaces, and I'm gonna, if I can off click that. So they're loading up, right? There's all these Adobe fonts that are there. I'm going to just go back to mine. To speed things up, right? They'll get kind of weird and slow down when I go through. Oh, I saw something here. Where was it? So Seattle is known for its air bases. They have a lot of military and such, and Boeing's up there. So I'm just gonna, I saw this font, and this font is actually made out of airplanes, and I'm just trying to see if there's anything that might work up here. It probably isn't, but I'm gonna leave that because I want that as a visual reference. I'm gonna pull that up later. Let me just do again, visit. I went down the rabbit hole. I saw something and it kind of took me someplace. Don't know. Let me just go down a little bit. That was looking good up here. Oops. Too many fonts? Not really. And you'll find also fonts go in and out of style. You know, something like this poster, it's designed for today, right? It's designed for, you know, next week. We're going to be using this. It's not designed to last forever, much like a logo would. So in this case, I think we're allowed to be a little bit more open and free with our typefaces, because we know this thing is really meant for today, or this year type of thing. It's not something that we're worried about lasting forever. Okay, so I kind of dig that. That's kind of nice. It's like, it's not Helvetica, it's just kind of this bold thing, and I really like this little curve on the V. That's kind of sweet. All right, and I'm gonna actually just, for now, I wanna see what the word Seattle looks like in this. Okay, nothing too bad. It's a nice tight little typeface. And I can play with that here. I'm gonna put that up, and maybe I'm gonna do a little scaling. The things I might want to think about is maybe I want the words visit and Seattle to kind of line up. Now, obviously, visit's a lot shorter word, so I can kind of scale, but it's going to still show up larger. And this is, again, where your guides might want to come into play. So I'm going to probably put a guide in just for the sake of lining things up. And again, I can move these back around later as I go. Put that guide there. Zoom in. Don't be afraid to zoom in. We're lined up off on there. I think the visit can go a little smaller over here. I can pull that E in just a little bit here in Seattle. Command colon gets rid of the guides, so I don't have to see them. So I can kind of do what I need to do. It's okay. Again, for now, first draft. But I like I said, I like the plane, and I like the fact that Seattle's home to Boeing and those kind of things. So I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to come back over here. I'll lock my type for now. The mountain, I'm getting a bad, what they call tangent, where things are going together. Just kind of point there. I don't like that much at all. So I'm going to pull this up. And that means I'm going to make my mountains a little, stretch it. It's no big deal. It's Rainier. It's not stretched that much, so it's going to look too hokey. Adjustments here. Just kind of tweaking things real quick. Like I said, I got that tangent I didn't like over there. I'm just trying to eliminate that. Okay, a little more here. All right. So the last thing I want to do is I want to put a plane in. So I left this here as my like a visual reminder, so I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to go over to Google real quick, and 747. Okay, and I'm going to do vector because I just want to get a little quick vector where it's kind of a silhouette of that. And I want something taken off. Now, obviously, this one is available through iStock that you can buy. I'm not buying a plane right now for this classroom project. But let's do that one. I can work with that. I'm going to drag that in. Let's see if I can get that into here. There we go. Now, in this case, I just want a silhouette. I'm going to think about this as a silhouette. So I'm going to just do an image trace because it is a vector, or it's a bitmap that I want to be kind of a black and white. So I'm just going to kind of select. See, that was perfect. One click and I got that thing just the way I want it perfectly. I'm going to expand it. Okay, so I have my jetliner. I'm going to pull that down. I'm going to flip that thing, transform, reflect, going the other way. I want the plane to kind of go with the line here, right? So it's going to be pulling up. It's a good big. I want to kind of just kind of put it in the background because that's Seattle there. I'm going to rotate. Feels like it's taking off a little bit high, and we're going to give it a, we'll give it another color here. I think when I did the black and white, it kept it black. So I'm gonna, there we go. Okay. We're almost done with our little quick demo. And then of course down here, we're gonna put our logo. All right, so we have that over here from before. I'm gonna just kind of copy this one over. No, I can just do this one. Command C. I'm gonna pop that in. I'm gonna scale that down. I'm gonna take off, in this case, I want to get rid of the background. Okay, and I'm gonna make this and this white. We get a really nice standout. And we'll make that also white. And we could scale it up a little more. Again, we've got the company name there. Now we still need to do a little call to action. So I just want to do a www exploremoretravel.com. I'm going to scale it up. Let me give that a color. We'll do that in white for now. And we're going to put that down here. Move that logo up a little bit so we're not interfering. Probably could go a little larger and maybe a little smaller on this. And again, you see, I'm just kind of visually doing it. I don't even know what size typeface it is. So I'm not really at this point not worried about numbers or anything like that. When we get to something like a magazine stuff, we're concerned, right? We want things to be 10, 12 point, something like that for our body copy. Might be a little bit less, could be a little more depending on the typeface. But with a poster, in this case, we're just kind of visually doing it. We want to see, how does it fit? How does it visually fill the space? You know, if this thing is, 100 point or 500 point, we don't care. Okay. Question: do we have to have a website link on it? No, but I think it's good that you start to kind of keep in mind that we do need to have kind of a call to action. So it could be a phone number. At the very least, we're going to be putting your logo on there. But I think it's good to kind of think about that and putting those into position and how they're going to work. Because as designers, we always have to do that. Okay, because if I just had this explore more travel, you're making the viewer do more work. So they got excited by the beautiful work here on the poster. They're excited. Wow, Seattle looks exciting. Look how beautiful this place is. And then it's like, well, explore more. So now they got to Google explore more travel. Hopefully it pops up. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows, right? So you're kind of making more work for them. So if we can quickly put in something like the website, I think that's a good thing to kind of lead us into what we're doing. So I'm going to say I'm not as worried about it for this project, but I want you to kind of remember you do need to have that call to action, whether it be a poster or a brochure, because it's not like McDonald's, right? We know there's a McDonald's in every corner. So do I have to put McDonald's.com? No. Do I know if I type in McDonald's.com, it's going to pop up? Yes. Okay. And that'll give me location and so forth. When we're talking with small, nimble little companies, they may or may not show up in Google, depending on how their search engine optimization has been done, or how new the company is. So it's good to kind of eliminate that kind of question. So it's like, hey, I want to learn more. Where do I go? Oh, it's obvious here, www.exploremoretravel.com. But I will say you can get rid of the www at this point, right? So if I just do exploremore.com, everybody gets that, right? Is there anybody here who wouldn't know that's a web address and I need to type that in? Right? But I think that at this point, with the world and how we are, we get that, right? So that idea of just the we don't even need a www. So if you want to kind of clean it up from that standpoint, from a graphical typographical thing, I think that's fine. And there's a smaller one, KY. There was another version of this typeface. Just bold. Okay. Which is a little bit thinner, I thought. Now, again, it's not a great typeface because of it doesn't have the bold or thins and the mediums. It's only like that one thing. So, look at those kind of things when you're dealing with your fonts as to, how many options do you have that help make it work. So let's see what I get there. Again, see, this is where you can see like a, excuse me, where did I go? right? Where the cursive or the script sometimes, or the things that are a little bit too decorative sometimes would not be appropriate here, right? So explore more to read that, it's hard. It's a very difficult thing to do. So, try to go with something that's a little more legible, like, that's just hard to read, no matter what the scale is, right? So we want to kind of go with something that's a little more legible, okay? And something like that definitely is legible. And what's nice is there's a variety of weights on that. So, I can maybe do something, go extra light. We can do that. Put that in there. So it's there. It's not this big obtuse thing. And we can even scale that down a little bit more. We're still looking at here. I'm just looking at 22 points. That's more than big enough to be able to read it. Just moving it over a little bit with my buttons. Okay. Saving, right? Remember to always save. I'm late. I should have saved earlier. Desktop. Okay. And then we're good to go, right? So, I can come back and clean up things like, let's unlock everything right now. I can get rid of that. I don't need that reference. That was just a visual reminder because I would have forgotten. I can leave these in or leave these off. As long as they're outside of my art panel, my artwork here, they're not going to print. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. I can kind of put them over to the side if I need them for later. But really, this is what's going to print. Okay, and I'm just going to lock those over there so they're out of the way. And then we're there, and we turn our rule of thirds on just to kind of double check things. And you see here we got my visit Seattle, upper third, left, right? It's over 2 panels. That's good, right? I move the Space Needle over a little bit more, so we're on this right side, going up this third. The jet is kind of in this third here. The mountain is a little bit above center line, right? So it's better. It's not dead center. It's up a little bit. We're pulling our eye up. And then, of course, our cityscape is on the bottom third, okay? So if we look at that from a, using the 1/3 rule, we've kind of positioned things pretty nicely to make it work. Okay. Questions, guys? I went through that quickly. But not a question in the world. Oh my gosh. All that good. Really? Anything? Guess still there? You sleeping? Sleeping, man. Catching up on my naps. Nope. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. So really over the next week, as we're on break here, you should start to kind of work up this, start to get that going. And again, I think once you get going, you're like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. And that's what you should do, right? You should come back in and keep working. Let's see, I made a mistake there. Can I move that? It gets, I'm going to move this up. You're going to get inspired. You're going to want to keep going. So, don't just say, oh, I'm done. No, I want you to work these up. I want you to kind of figure things out as you go. And I think as you start to work, excuse me, you're gonna start to feel that. You're gonna go, oh, okay, what if I do this? Or what if, and that's really cool. And again, you can take everything, and just make, okay, I got one copy, one version, just make another version. Okay. And then you can start to come over here and go, okay, what if I had a different color? What if my mountains weren't green? What if they were, I don't know, red type of thing? So you can start to come back and play and visually kind of work these things up as to what's going to work in order to get the look and feel that you want. Okay. And that's really kind of the fun part of design is when you start to go, no, the red's not working. Let me see what else. You know, it's going to work. That's a bit too close to my tower at this point. Um, maybe more of a yellow green. Yeah, it's a little bit, but it's kind of pukey. You know, and again, this is where we can start to come back in and start to get our color panels going, right? So opening those up to kind of say, whoa, what if I do a whole color palette in here? And literally just kind of take from it and convert everything over to that. Okay, so we're going to go here. So we're going to go blue. And then, no, you know, we're going to go keep that green. We're going to go down here and make that the blue. We've got the orange and yellow in the sky. Okay, so we're just kind of playing with that and just kind of seeing what's working from a color standpoint. So we're just kind of spending some time exploring. Okay, again, that's the fun part of design, is kind of bringing it all together and positioning things and seeing how things interact and work together. All right, questions? Good, okay. All right, so let me take a few minutes and kind of go through, and we'll start, I won't get this done, but we'll start today. I want to kind of go through just how you guys can start to do stuff. I know we talked about working up Instagram and kind of building that up. And I want to kind of go through things I do, like I do t-shirts, I do pins, but that's a little more commitment there. Patches are not too bad. T-shirts. What I'm thinking about is things that you guys can do right now to work, okay, to make a couple extra bucks. And I don't want you to think that, you know, you got to have this, you know, everything figured out and worked out. Um, and you're going to go, well, I don't know what to do. Well, I want to say, I want you to embrace the weird stuff. Okay. So what makes you weird? Not weird. What makes you unique is really kind of the better. So if you had to write down who you are, right? I don't know. I love baseball. I love, you know, travel. I like, you know, in my case, national parks. Um, I like food, and figure out kind of what's what, right? What is, like, if you had to say what is like your favorite thing, what is that? And what is the second and the third? So kind of thinking about what makes you unique. Okay. And that's what is important, because if you look at companies and how they've evolved, you know, most times their owners and the founders and so forth are doing things that um, makes them unique. Okay. I like to use the word geeky, make the word nerdy. You know, the idea of what makes you different. Okay, that's the uniqueness. And if you focus on your uniqueness, um, that gives you something that differentiates you from everybody else. That makes sense. So think about those kind of ideas of what makes you unique in order to kind of create things. And unique doesn't mean it's a special thing. Um, Meaning, you know, like national parks for me, but unique could be you really draw well, right? You're a great artist. You're really great with the pencil and doing stuff. And again, you can create those things into designs that you can sell. Um, and let me just, I'm just going to spend a second Googling. What is the company? I'm just going to, the wild guy I follow. So look here, these are all like vector drawings that people have done. Um, you know, they're all done in Illustrator. 99% of this is. Um, but there's a, hold on, let me look up my Instagram real quick. All right, so I'll look up this, I'll show you this company. So this is a company called Wild Tribute, which I've followed for a long time. And they started out doing t-shirts and stuff. But one of their things that I like about them is they do a lot of drawing stuff. And again, I'm not a drawer. I wish I could draw better, but I don't, which it's sad. Sad because I can't draw as well. It's okay. And they'll do stuff like, I don't know, pull this up here. You know, this goofy ram with, it looks like Zion or something in the sunglasses. Okay, so somebody actually drew this, and then they probably put it in the computer and scanned it in and cleaned it up with Illustrator or such. And then they'll take these same ideas and build them into, you know, stickers and stuff, you know, and this is nice. I mean, I really, you know, this is a nice drawing for me of Teddy Roosevelt. I like the mountains in his eyes. I mean, there's some nice, really nice details in there. And, you know, they do, in this case, stickers also, right, of this. Right, so they did one drawing and they're adding different drawings inside for their little van bus. You know, and there's Sasquatch and, you know, those kind of bear, right? They're cool, right? And again, this is all drawn and it's a sticker. And let me just see what they're selling these for. Obviously, it's going to be a little more, but you tell me. You want to tell me how much it is? How much is it? Well, now I'm kind of pissed. It doesn't show up enough. They all the same price? Oh, it's a bundle. 5 for 20 bucks. Okay. So anyway, you pick up 5. So that brings them up to $4 each. Yeah. And you put that into your little kit and they're selling them all as a grouping, which you can totally do. But you'll see the very illustrative, very hand-drawn kind of feel, right? It's definitely not something that I would say I do well. But if you do this well, do it, right? And you can definitely transport this into your uniqueness, okay? So think about what makes you unique in order to you know, kind of start these things up. And again, this same design can be used obviously as a sticker, but then next it can be into a t-shirt. And we'll show you that in a second here. We'll show you that probably next class. But so I use a company called Sticker Mule for my stickers. You can use any company you want. There's more than one company. And what's cool about it is they're in New York State and they print really quick. Things that are pretty cheap in the beginning, round, square, rectangle, they're cheap. Ovals are cheap, rounded corners, because they're not unique. The die cuts cost a little bit more, but not terribly more. So we're gonna just do a circle sticker just to kind of give you an idea on this. What's going on? Load up. So these are just round stickers, and I make these. I make these by the hundreds, right? I mean, I just thousands, truthfully. And you can see as you go up in price, they do. So if you want 50, and we'll go like this is a 3" by 3" sticker that I sell the most of. It's 65 bucks for 50 or 83 for 100. So now you're up to 83 cents a sticker, okay, which is pretty good pricing, okay. And all you had to do was order 100, and then you could sell those for $2 or $3 each, or 4. You just double, tripled, quadrupled your money, okay. And again, you don't have to do it all through a website. You can obviously start websites, and we'll go through how to build a website, e-commerce site, those kind of things. But you can sell them to your friends, right? Go, hey, I made a sticker. You can tell them it's $1, right? If 83 cents each, you got to figure out your taxes though. They don't, shipping is, I don't think they charge shipping. But you figure out your taxes on that. So maybe it's up to 85 cents. you know, you're still making 15 cents a sticker. Not a lot, but you know, tell your friends it's $2. Right now you're making $1 or something. So almost $3. Now you're making two something. Okay. And you'll see that these designs work out really nice. And you're making a lot of money. Now, if you start to get into quantities, you can see here, if we're making 1,000 at a time, they're coming down to under 30 cents a sticker. Okay, so if you're selling them for $2 or $3, okay, or $4, you can see where you're really starting to make some money now. Okay, so and it can do this, right? I mean, trust me, when I started, I was buying 150, 200, you know, and now I buy by the thousand because I know I'm going to sell them, so I'm comfortable with that. Um, so don't overextend yourself, but you know, feel free to do that. And then these are like custom cut as you want. Um, so they're at 91 cents for 100. So you can see it a little bit more because of the special die cut. But you know, for literally for $30 more, you're doubling your money. Commission. Yeah, you can just make all kinds of bucks off this, guys. Right. So what I'm trying to tell you is, think about what makes you unique. Um, what are you into? And you're going to find there's a bazillion people that are like you and like the things you like. Um, and you can just kind of make this stuff up, and you can, you know, you can put it on Etsy, you can put it on your Instagram, say, hey, if you like my sticker, you know, DM me, it costs you $2 and you can work that out and they can pay you through Venmo or, you know, whatever. You can work those things out pretty quickly. Um, and what I'm trying to say is you now have the tools to do this because you guys know Photoshop and Illustrator, okay, that you can make these things up. And when you do, they basically, they help you out. That's what's kind of cool. If you can upload the work, they come through, they proof it, they make some changes that they need to, like on the borders or whatever, um, and they send it to you. And if you like it, cool. If you need a change, you make a change. And they're very good with this. And the turnaround time is like quick. If I order something today, what are we at, Thursday? I'll have it definitely by next Thursday, most likely. So that's pretty good turnaround. And that's shipping from like 2 day shipping from New York State out here to California with this stuff. So you can, you know, take your time doing this, and you can even build up some orders to see what you're doing before you put the order in. But there's a lot of opportunities, and I think too many times we wait and go, oh, it's not the time, or I can't do this. What do I know? I'm too new, too young, um, whatever. Don't make excuses. Just kind of do it. Just like we talked about doing the Instagram. Just kind of get in there and start to do it. You know, if you're following the ideas and you're playing with the tools the way they're meant to be used, Instagram is a tool, right? You're posting regularly. You're adding hashtags. You're commenting. You're interacting. If you're doing those kind of things, you're going to start to see results. Likewise, you know, you're creating nice designs, you know, get them out there. Okay, and we'll go through some t-shirt stuff next class. Again, it's not that difficult. And like I said, a lot of this design can be overused, right? I mean, you're using it here, well, I can use it on something else. Um, and you'll find these companies that you can start to do this with. Excuse me. Um, and the cool thing is, again, we don't need to make hundreds of thousands. We're in a time that's very unique, um, that we didn't have 20, 30 years ago, um, where you could say, I just want 50 stickers made, or I want 100. Because in the past, it would cost you a fortune. Now, these companies are set up to do this. And again, this is just a few products, but I like stickers because they're cheap. Um, you can make a lot of money off of stickers. Okay. And I mean that. I mean, I'm just, you know, stuff I've done. Just to put something here. I mean, I just sold these for Sequoia, Kings Canyon National Park, right? they got like a couple $1,000s worth of them. Okay. Um, you know, I mean, you'd be surprised at how quickly you can make a tidy little profit off of something there. Um, and it's a design that you did, and it's uniquely you, and you do it in a style that's unique to you. And you're going to be surprised at how this stuff works, and how excited people are to see your stuff, and um, how they're going to want to get it. Okay. And again, we're not talking, you know, the most you're committing to 50 stickers, which is maybe $50 or whatever it happens to be. Okay. So, you know, think about these kind of ways of doing things. Um, Not only to have that creative output, so you have a thing, a place that you can be creative, but also maybe a way to pay for some stuff, pay some bills, give you money for, you know, something special, nice dinner or vacation, or whatever it happens to be. So think about those kind of ideas as we're going here. You know, you've got a week break, so you know, think about what you can do to kind of um, build yourself up. Okay. Questions on that? Just kind of want to start that. We'll talk more about that. Again, I think you, you guys can do this, and really, there's nothing that's holding you back. Questions? All right. Questions about the poster, the logo, if you're still working on that. Um, Poster due date is, I believe, the um, 13. Let me just pull that back up. Um, oh, I can't. I think it's the 13th we're due on that. Let me find my calendar. April 13. Yes. That's when we're gonna do that. Too low. So raise your prices. Well, you don't worry about people. They will. People will notice you guys. You got to be persistent. And trust me. I mean, like I say, Rome wasn't built in a day. So don't think that, you know. Look, it took me. I mean, with what I did, even um, uh, it was a year and a half plus until I kind of got my first kind of big sale. Um, you know, with the National Park Geek company that I found it, right? I mean, you know, I had some online sales here and there, nothing major, but um, it took that first, for me, a year and a half of consistently doing it, trying to get it out there. And it was, again, it was pure luck sometimes, right? Luck, that luck does come into play. I got it in front of the right person, and she liked it, and she said, "How do I order this?" Um, for her park, and then her park was associated with other parks, and I kind of built from there. So don't 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 worry about that, guys. Just make it. You're gonna sell them. You know, you just kind of keep working. You're gonna find certain things work better. And don't be afraid. Again, don't be afraid to use the Instagram and those kind of things. Like, go, hey, here's A and here's B. Which one you like better? Which sticker would you buy if I made it? Right? I mean, you can ask the people, and they'll tell you. Okay. So, but you got to keep at it, and you got to, you know, you can use those kind of things that we have at hand to figure out what works and what doesn't work. You, and over time, you're going to figure that out. You're going to figure out this worked better than that. Um, so don't be afraid, and know that it takes time. Um, and don't ever undersell yourself, guys. Right? I mean, if you made the sticker and it cost you 80 cents, sell it for $2 minimum. Right? I mean, you got to make $1. Okay. You know, don't be afraid to sell it for 3 or 4. I can tell you, people will buy them for $3 and $4 type of thing. Are they going to buy it for 10? I don't know. I would have a hard time selling it for 10, but I do sell some stickers for $10. I have a vinyl window decal, um, that's, you know, pretty big. It's probably about, I don't know, maybe 5, 6 inches, and I sell it for $12, and people buy it. So, don't be afraid. Does that make sense? But you got to keep at it. It is like anything else. You got to keep working at it. But people are going to see it, and people are going to hear about it, and people are going to want it. Okay. And I'm here to say you guys can do this. You know, figure out what makes you unique. What are your unique interests? Merge those things together, and do something. Okay. Be creative. Okay. Again, this doesn't stop you by any means from going to work someplace or working with somebody else, or some other company when you graduate. Going on and obviously getting your bachelor's degrees, all those are all there. But why not have a little side thing on the side? You're going to do it anyway eventually. I can tell you that if you stay in this field of art and design, almost everybody I know is doing something on the side. Whether they're coding or they're building websites on the side, or in this case, have their own little business. And look at Aaron Draplin, right? Yeah, he's got design business, right? He's getting clients, but he's doing a lot of money off his little merch business, a lot. Okay, probably more than he's making off his design business potentially. Okay, so I'm here to say you guys can do this. Okay, and by all means, if you create something, show it to me. I'll give you my feedback. Um, but I think you guys can make this happen. Okay, so it takes time, but I want you to think about it. Okay, because if you don't think about it, it'll never happen. Okay, if you don't plan for it, it will never happen. Right? If you want to go to Hawaii and don't start planning and saving money, you're never going to get there. Okay, so you got to make a plan. You gotta see it. You gotta envision it, and it will happen. Trust me on this. All right, thoughts. Yeah, you're gonna keep improving, Aaron. Please do, but don't let that hold you back. Does that make sense, guys? You guys, we just heard from Brittany Brown this idea of criticism, this idea of critique, and where we're the worst at we critique ourselves so much that we don't do it. Trust me, just do it. I got a ton of designs that yeah, I have stuff on my website that I've only sold a few of. Doesn't mean it's a bad design, it just didn't click or whatever it happened to be. And if it's something I don't like, I can take it down. Okay, but don't let that hold you back. That you got to make a billion of them. No, just do it. Okay, and you'll find sometimes things surprise you. Well, I didn't realize that was going to be successful, and it turns out it is. All right. Other questions? Anything else, guys? All right. So next week, remember spring break, no class. Enjoy it. Excuse me. Take the time to work on the posters. We still have a week or so after spring break, so they're not due when we come back. They're due a week after we come back. Okay, so we've got time. So don't rush it. Go through, be creative, work it up. If you have stuff that you want me to look at or give you a quick little feedback on. Excuse me, I'm talking today. Send me an email. Make sales while you figure out. Yeah, I mean you can sell anything, guys, but find your little uniqueness. Seriously, I mean, I'm telling you this because I know you can do it. I believe in you guys. And if an idiot like myself can do it, you guys can do it. Okay. Excuse me. You can. Okay. All right. Anything else before we break? All right. Go be creative. Enjoy the break. Keep out of trouble. Get your vaccine. I hear they're coming out soon. I want to say 16th. I think that's what I read today. Nobody's over 50 here, I'm sure. But I want to say it said, I think April 16th. Anybody can get it. 16 and up, they're saying in California. April, I think it said April 1st was 50, and then it was the 60. Look at it either way, guys. I got mine because I work as a part-time volunteer firefighter, fire captain. Um, Dude, it makes it so much better, right? I mean, I still wear a mask and I still do all that stuff, but um, your paranoia factors go down to like 0. Um, and even if I did happen to get it, I'm not gonna die from it. Okay. Um, April 15, 16 and up. Yeah. So I know I saw something just came out today. I think April 1st is 15 up, April. So start looking at that. I don't know when you can start signing up, but go get it. My wife, she went last Sunday. She got in under the education kind of thing because she teaches also. But do it, guys. You know, it's going to be the best way of ending this damn thing so we can all get back to whatever life we want to live. And if you like online classes, I'm sure they're going to have them continue for a while. But you know, and again, nothing wrong with being cautious, but get the shot. You're going to feel better not only for yourself, but you know, the fact that you know you're not going to potentially have it and not know it and transmit it to somebody else, someone, your friend or your loved one or grandma or your aunt or whomever it happens to be. Okay, so you know, get that shot. It's free. Yes, there's a little bit of pain for the area for the first shot, and I felt a little wheezy the night of the second shot, but in the morning I was fine after 2 Tylenol. Okay, so don't let any of that hold you back. Okay, get the damn thing. Um, you'll feel better, and we'll get this thing all wrapped up, and soon we'll be able to make our own travel vacations. I had the Moderna. Um, get whatever they give you, guys. Seriously, you know they're all good. They're all going to be fine. Um, you know, so whether it's the Johnson Johnson 1 shot and you're done, that seems nice. Pfizer, Moderna, whatever, they're all going to be good. They're not approving anything that's not effective, and none of all 3 of those vaccines, basically, no one's died from COVID since they've gotten those vaccines. So I mean, that's huge when you think about it. If you've been vaccinated, or fully vaccinated, I should say, um, you're not dying, and that alone is a big deal. And I know you guys are young and you're not thinking about that, but you know, some young people have died too. So, and you're going to go to Disneyland, go, and then they'll open Disneyland again, right? Once we get vaccinations and people aren't getting the damn thing, we can go back to Disneyland. I miss Disneyland. I'm glad I didn't have a year pass. So, did they give you guys money back? What did they do with the pass if you had a pass? You can just talk. You don't have to type everything. We're almost done.
Oh, you chose whether you wanted to continue paying or not, but if you
Okay.
paid for a year, they gave you your money back.
Oh, okay.
But they canceled annual passports actually.
I did hear that. I'm sure they're gonna come up with something new. They have to. But
Yeah, they're probably going to bring it back after the whole pandemic is over.
okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I love going to Disneyland. Even my little one. I've been taking her since she was 2, and we stopped our passes. I want to say 2 years ago because of school was too busy. But you know, even she's like, "Can we go to Disneyland?" Now she's like, "Disney World's open. Let's go to Florida." Right? So I'm like, but yeah, it's a great place. So get your shot so we can all go back to Disneyland. Do it for me. All right. Anything else, guys? I'll let you guys go. Have a good weekend. Good week. All right. Go. Have a good week. Be creative. Send me an email if you need to. And we'll see you in a week and a half. Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.